Welcome to USA Global TV and Radio, where our mission is to provide education, entertainment, hope, and inspiration. USA Global TV and Radio connects you with experts and audiences all around the world every single day to help you succeed in business and to live a richer life. Visit us at usaglobaltv.com to learn about career and life-changing training and mentoring programs like the Listening Mentor. Subscribe to our newsletter to stay informed about our special programs and offers. Discover how you can become a guest on one of our shows or a host or producer of a USA Global TV and Radio show of your very own. That's USA Global TV and Radio, where the doctor is always in.
Good evening, good morning, and good afternoon, depending on when you're listening, where you're listening from. And welcome to another episode of The Resume Whisperer. I'm your host, Joseph STETTER. For the past couple of months, I've been trying to create value for the listeners on what it takes to get ahead in life, to succeed, to stand out, to show your passion, not only as an employee, but as an entrepreneur, to understand what companies are looking for, both in the technical and soft skills. And I want to continue with this pattern. I'm very, very excited because we have a brilliant man as our guest today, Michael Fabber, who is the business brains behind The Beard, one of the most sought after business strategists and founder of UNLEASHU now. Michael Fabber is the business coach for those who want to make the world a better place, live in life that they desire, and create a legacy that will impact forever. He's guided many, many leaders with the most transformational and positive communities and impact across the globe. He owns a very successful marketing firm where he's built a great team around him and helped individuals creating six-figure plus courses, events, masterminds, memberships, retreats, books, and even a deck of cards. His life purpose is to end suicide and self-injurious behavior, and he works hard every day to make sure that that becomes reality. He does this through several businesses he owns and all the clients he serves. Let's welcome Michael Fabber to the show.
What's up, brother? Thanks for having me.
My pleasure. Thank you first for being here. So tell us a little bit, first of all, about what got you on that entrepreneurial spirit or path for you.
Sure, there was two parts. One, I was always kind of creative. I was always looking for ways to get ahead or to make something from whatever it was, nothing or whatever we had. I was a kid that found change on the sidewalk and went and bought penny candy, then brought it back to where I lived and sold it for 5 cents a piece. I would go back and forth every day, all day long, until I could buy baseball cards. And I would sell the baseball cards and eat the chewing gum because I wasn't very smart. And then also, I was a troublemaker for the young part of my life. 12 to 20, I was in juvenile jail, locked up and in court often, which made it hard to hire. So if I wanted to live the life I wanted after I straightened up and smartened up a little bit, it was going to have to be one that I created by going and getting it with my hands and my brain. And that's what kind of got me heavy into the entrepreneur space, because in that I could go make it yourself. And I always liked when the odds are in my favor.
Okay, that's awesome. And so you now run, I know I mentioned in edifying you, multiple businesses. One of them is kind of a marketing firm. So how big is your firm right now in people? And then the more important question, how do you select who to join your team?
So I'd say right now we have 10 to 12 regular members in our marketing firm, marketing agency. So really, for us, we look for heart first. The kind of person you are, the heart you have, what you believe in, what you stand on. Skills can be learned. There's certain things that can't be or are harder to learn. So first we go to caliber person. I love some of the things that old CEO of IBM used to do about, going to a restaurant and making sure the person got the wrong meal and seeing how they handled it, or putting them in an uncomfortable position and seeing how they get through it. I think you get to see what a person is made of that way and what kind of cloth and fabric they have at that moment in that time. And then we go to skill set, and we can learn skills. We can invest in our people to learn and get better at their craft.
Awesome. And I love that you kind of think outside the box to kind of get to know the heart of the person. So you have 10 people roughly working for you, 10 to 12 people. What do you do to kind of build a culture that, is in line with you and then shows your employees that you appreciate them and the work that they do?
Right. I heard this once. If you really value your customers, you'll value your people, like your staff, your customer, your employees. If you really value them, you'll value those because those are the ones truly serving them and giving to them. One of the things we do is no longer do we have like our core values, our code that we follow of our culture. One, we have to live it and show it's true. And when we don't live up to it, including myself, we have to acknowledge it. I think one of the biggest things is ownership, right or wrong, celebrate or lessen. The other thing too is that a common vision for us to see and work towards that has a piece of what we all truly want, and for us to be seen and valued in it and appreciated through the journey. I think it's huge to have a support staff or team fight for that vision as hard as you're hoping they do, which it's rare that they're going to fight as hard as you will for your thing, but to get them to fight pretty hard is very important for the progress and how fast you move.
Okay, awesome. And again, very insightful, but I would love for you to expand a little bit. When you say like a core value in terms of good or bad, can you give me an example of something that either you've done good or bad and kind of how you've, especially on the good, kind of celebrated that with your company and kind of what you've done for them, and even on the bad, how you took ownership to correct that? Because you're talking about the communication, you're talking about the transparency, which I agree with you 100%. And if the leadership talks the talk but doesn't walk the walk, this is why 80 to 90% of people in North America hate their job, and this is why turnover in North America is costing $1 trillion right now, right? So can you expand a little bit on that, please?
Yes, and I love that you said that. All those things are so true. And when there's that disconnect between the leaders and the people that are supposed to follow, typically nothing good will follow that when there's a disconnect there. So for us, we're really big on celebrating our wins, and have been. That's big. We celebrate for 24 hours. And on the other, when something goes wrong, we're real big into solution. Acknowledge the problem and then go towards the solution. No point in sitting in the PP, as we call it, the pain or problem. So why that's important and where that's been seen. So I dropped the ball on a launch before and I launched it too fast. So what we mean by a launch is take a product or program and put it out to market. There's a formula that works. And I always say when we had successful launches, we followed this formula and the formula works. Like Novocaine, give it time. It works every time. But sometimes I rush. And when I rush the process to get something out, to get a result for someone because a customer was getting a little antsy or something, typically it has come back to bite the team and myself and the results for our client. So when that happened, I had to say that was on me. That wasn't on us. Right. I don't want the views to be where it's all of us. That was on me. I shouldn't have did it that way. And I should have done it the way our formula and the process that we do it, that works with the team doing their part, apply that process for it to work as successful as it does. So that was one of the times where I had to take it on the chin and own it as someone that I was the one that erred. Right. And I had to take it because if I didn't, then why would my team ever step up and say, Mike, this happened? And one of the biggest reasons we wanted to do that is because if there is a problem, we want to identify it fast, right? Like if the longer it takes us to identify the problem, the more impact the problem can have. And celebrate, we just launched literally before I got on here, we just launched a Move Maker Live 2025. It's our bigger conference, a couple hundred people. We're back in Nashville. And we just launched that literally before I got on here. So this weekend, we're going to celebrate as a team launching our conference again and break bread together and just get to experience life a little bit together and not just life in the office or life in business. We really try to separate that and show that we're family too, because family is a big thing for us. So we really want to make sure that's true.
And I love that. And I can tell you that food always brings people together, right?
Thanks.
So there's a flip chart behind you and you have some kind of powerful words there. We've all felt that in our point in our life. Do you think that most people do? And kind of what is your approach when you have an entrepreneur that goes, I've been trying this, I'm stuck, I'm not getting anywhere. And I've like using myself as an example, unfortunately, I've been burned where a lot of people give me the sizzle, but there's no steak, and so you want to invest, but on the other hand, it's like, okay, I'm going through this motion again, kind of thing.
Yep. Over and over. And unfortunately, it happens so many times and so many people where there's a lot of sizzle and no steak. Me, I'm like the opposite. There's like no sizzle about me. People look at me and they're like, you really help people? I'm like, yeah. They're like, do you have a home? I'm like, I do have a home. Yes. They're like, oh, right. And I'm like, oh, I'm sorry. But so we're the opposite. We're more steak than sizzle. Yes. Do I think a lot of people have felt these ways 100% at certain times? Now, so we're big on psychographics. We truly believe, and evidence, statistics can show, and research can show that a lot of things come down to messaging. No matter how you do it, if you break it down in email form, website form, ad form, however you want to do that, messaging is key. But how we were taught to message was great for like 1940s and horrible for 2024 or even before. The internet changed the game for us because it let us do interruption marketing or messaging every way sideways through social media and through other avenues you could do on the internet that you couldn't necessarily do in person as much, all right, to be seen by as many as fast. So rather than worried about demographics, which they teach a lot, we talk more about psychographics because that's the key. And like being unseen, that's a pain point for someone. Like these were pain points we were going through with a client of ours for their messaging. But it's not that you're unseen. It's how does being unseen show up? Because sometimes when we're going through it, we don't know how to label it or identify it. We just know the feeling of it. It's like being in a room full of people and feeling like you're completely alone. Right? That's being unseen. So it's no longer getting to the pain point, but also then how does it show up in your client or the person you serve's life? That is going to be key to be able to craft into a message so they know you're talking about them without you saying, hey, I'm talking to you.
Brilliant. And I look at it because my expertise is kind of twofold. One is to help the individual land their dream job. And the other one is to help companies hire amazing people and keep them. And it's amazing to me that even in the corporate world, I speak to clients that are like, yeah, we have corporate culture, but we don't, then people get hired there and everything that was promised as corporate culture doesn't happen. So using the example, like, I'm a big kid at heart. One of my favorite holidays is Halloween. I love Halloween kind of thing. And when I speak to executives, I said, listen, C-level executives, even if you have meetings all day, show up for 20 minutes, go to the dollar store, buy a mask if you don't want to invest in it. Wear that mask for 20 minutes, go shake hands, go acknowledge the people that actually dressed up, right? Take a few pictures, and then take off your mask and go to your meetings. But if you don't do that, but you're preaching, we have a lot of fun, nobody's going to believe you and no one's going to buy into you, right? The other side of it, and this is excuse, I mean, I love the fact that you kind of go outside of the office to test the real behaviors, but do you have any specific questions or anything that you look for? Because, a lot of people can say that they're, certified in, let's say, Google AdWords or SEO or Facebook advertising. And I appreciate that the algorithm changes. And especially now with AI, I'm also finding that like there's a lot of company goes, oh, we don't need to pay you as an expert. We can just get AI to do this for us. And I'm like, look, AI might give you fundamentals of what is being used right now, but it doesn't tell your story. It doesn't separate you from everybody else. And so you want to use ChatGPT to write a resume. ChatGPT will write a decent resume, but it's not going to say, here's why Michael Fabber is better or different or other for people to kind of sift through you correctly and notice you, right?
Right.
So How does that kind of relate in your business or in kind of some of the experiences with explaining this to customers and getting them to internalize it, I guess?
Right. There's a couple things that you hit on that's really brilliant and is not talked about enough in this new AI culture. And AI is here and it's here to stay. It's not going to go anywhere. And it's great as a template or something to get idea from or some structure from, and then make your own. I think that's the key, make your own. Because think if you're like, hey, I can get my resume from ChatGPT, I don't need you. I'm like, right, that's what everybody else is saying. That's going for the same job too. So you're going to be just like them. Your resume is going to look just like them because ChatGPT is going through, unless you're extremely good at prompts, it's going through the same information to create all of them in the way it's going to create it for you. It's going to create it for the other 1,000 people or 100 people or 10 people that are applying for that job or that are qualified for it. It's not going to separate you. All right. And one of the biggest things we're looking for now more than ever is authenticity and separation for someone to be truly themselves. When I was in the sports talk world, one of the things I did to get one of my first gigs was I did my resume on a baseball bat. When I handed it in, it was on a bat. And they said, you got an interview because of your resume. It wasn't because of what was on it. It was because of what it was on. And I think that there's ways in resumes that you can separate yourself and put yourself above or get included in conversations that you shouldn't be included in. When I was first coming up in business, I was involved in conversations I shouldn't have been involved in. And it was because I put myself in position to do that by separating myself from the pack. Also important to know, EQ in the computer form or artificial intelligence form is always lower than the EQ of the human interaction or experience of the event. It's because they truly experienced it. And there is nothing like that. There is no comparison to the experience.
You brought up a great point, and I love how you connected that because there was about, I think, 10 years ago, a girl that graduated college and told everybody that she's going to Thailand for 6 months. She's going to have the most amazing trip. And it turned out that she was in her apartment and she photoshopped all the pictures and never actually had the experiences, right? And I can tell you, like, I've had the opportunity to travel and to experience things, and there's a difference. Let's say when I went to Rome, and I went to the Vatican and kind of to experience the Sistine Chapel and so forth. There's a difference between looking at a video online and standing underneath those frescoes and kind of going, holy smoke, like we're talking about stuff that was built 200-300 years ago, and to not only on a curved roof, but to have that level of detail is incredible. And I don't care how many YouTube videos you've seen, you can't kind of tell me that's the experience or that's the this. And so it's interesting to me because I always tell people, look, you want to get noticed, you want to get promoted. Yes, I can wordsmith your resume to get you in the door. But if you don't have passion, if you don't have energy, and you talked about heart, there's service and there's service. And it's not like, I'm not saying never earn money for what you do, but also own that there are some times that you have to go, you know what, this is a gift, right? This is a resource. And I love your baseball bat outside the box, because I recommend that to people all the time. What's been the most creative resume that you've received, or one that kind of caught your attention?
Whew, we got some good ones. Someone sent me flowers. I said once on a podcast I never received flowers. So they sent me flowers, and in the card was, hey, I emailed you my resume. It's from this email address. Search it. You'll be surprised. And just the words, you'll be surprised. I was like, what? All right. So I searched it. I ended up looking at it, and they're still part of us. An old basketball player of mine gave me his resume on a basketball. That was different. But he passed the ball to me, and I was like, oh, right. And then he's like, I applied. And I'm like, oh my God. All right. So it was great to use our relationship and our history plus something we both had in common to get in the door and talk to me about something else. So those are some of the creative ways that they've been done with us or to us. that got my attention and worked. We're both here.
Excellent, and I love the fact that there's somebody that knew, so they knew that you would connect, because I've seen some of the videos of you have some basketball skills and so forth.
Thank you.
I want to transition because you mentioned that you just announced the launch of your UNLEASHU 2025. So why don't you tell our listeners a little bit about that and what's the purpose of the event, and where it's at and why people should attend and what experience they might have there.
Right. You used a great word. Use the word experience. I don't say we don't have events. We have experiences. Right. That's what people have, events and conferences. And I would say we try to put on the Woodstock of them every year. People come from around the world to our event, literally from multiple countries. Last year we had 7 countries, or this a couple months ago we had 7 countries. We already have 3 or 4, I think it's 3, signed already, and we just launched for this coming year. The separating factor for us is we try to bring in all the things you would love and try to leave out the things we don't want, right? So we don't want a lot of fluff, but we want some motivation. We want to be able to run through the wall. We don't want to leave with nothing to implement. We have implementation steps that are part of it, right? So there's going to be things like blueprints you can go and then go put into work in your own life and business to be able to be more successful and get results faster. The other thing we want is connect with some amazing souls. The people in the room, this is where I challenge anyone in the arena. The community, the blue and green community, the Unleashed community is second to none. There are some of the most amazing souls doing some of the most amazing things that actually care that I've ever seen them be around. I literally, on the live we just did, I said the reason why we come and do this event every time, because it's a big pain in the butt, is because the people in the room. The people in the room make it. Right? They are phenomenal human beings, and they make me believe that there are a bunch of phenomenal human beings out there still trying to do really good, trying to impact the world and make it a better place and leave a legacy while trying to live the life they desire and not screw anyone over and just help people and serve. That's awesome to get a bunch of people in the room that feel that way. That's what we do. All right. So also, of course, it's in Nashville, Tennessee, which is one of my favorite cities in the United States. It's at the Gaylord, which is arguably the most beautiful resort in the United States. You can literally take a boat ride inside, right? A boat ride inside. If you want to, you can there. All right. So it's a beautiful resort. It's in March of next year. We have our early bird rate going on right now. So you save like $1,000. Also in our events, your hotel room's included. There's like snacks, water, coffee, some food included, swags included, all that. And you don't get just one ticket. You get 2 tickets in your price, because we want you to bring someone that you know, like, and trust. We want you to bring your business partner. We want you to bring your significant other. We want you to have those people in the room with you to have this experience with.
And what are the dates? Because I think that's a very important factor, first of all.
March 21st to 23rd.
Okay. And I can say to you, because obviously I know people in the network that overlap. Some of them are my friends. Like Jason Thomas, he spoke about the experience he had with you. He's
awesome,
he's one of my business partner, and so is his dad. And so, it's a circle. Like when he had the event, he's like, "Oh my God, this happened, and this was great, and it was different than other events, and here's why." So, hopefully my scheduling will allow me to attend for the first time as well. Right. And then I want to kind of tie everything together, because you mentioned that your mission is to kind of help prevent suicide or people that hurt yourself. So can you give us a little bit of insight why this kind of became a purpose, and why the work that you do wants you to translate to that, or to kind of affect that?
All right. So I remember I was a rough kid from like 10 to 20. I was pretty rough. But I didn't have to be. I would say that, like, the reason why I get asked to speak, and the reason why they have me on stages, isn't because of the amazing things I've accomplished. It is not, no matter what you think, if they're amazing or not, in your opinion. I get asked to speak because of all the mistakes I've made, and I'm still here doing it. Of all the losses, of all the wrong decisions, the wrong actions. And this started when I was 10 years old, February in 1992. It's the day that my brother passed away. He became a statistic in the United States, one of 22 that served the country, take their life every day. 22, he became one of them. So my brother, whose picture is behind me, took his own life a night after we did kicks at the table. Right. So it impacted me at a young age, and I saw what it did to my family and myself. But then, if that wasn't enough, I lost numerous friends to drugs and overdose and violence. But in 2011, my reality crumbled when one of my best friends took his own life. And then I became a suicidal maniac and tried to end my life in Lewis Beach. So it impacted me and so many people I know and care about at such a deep level that I was like, what can we do to stop that? Because after you understand the things that lead to that road, either isolation, burdenship, or the ability to harm yourself beyond repair. The last one I can't do much about, but the first two I can. And that's why we serve who we serve, like the empowering entrepreneur, the ones that want to make the world a better place, leave a legacy, not just make money. We think it's an important dance to do both. We believe that the more impact, the more income. We truly believe it. So that's why it became so near and dear to me. And that's why everything we do is aligned to that, or we don't do it.
Wow. First of all, my deepest condolences for your losses. But, I get what you're saying because, sometimes we all go through circumstances. And it's amazing to me that, I was just at a kind of technology conference and I had two individuals that came and were like, can you get me a job? Any job? And I kind of went, what's any job? Like,
Right.
what are you passionate about? What's your background? What is it that you need? So I just had like a 1 hour conversation with the guys like I'm in quality control, but I don't know if this. And I started talking to him and he was stuttering. And I said, I need you to own that you stutter. I need you to kind of get rid of the pink elephant and say, before I start, let's say when you go on an interview, I want you to know I stutter, but I'm the best quality control there. And he just stopped and looked at me like, okay. Then I said, okay, let's just say that you're going to stay in the quality control. You just don't like your company right now. What is your like ideal company, or what is the? And I asked a question like that's very basic, appears basic. Security, income, growth, or happiness. Which one's most important to you? And he said growth. I said, okay, what does growth look like? How do you define growth? He's like, I want to handle multiple projects at the same time. I'm like, okay, great. Then I looked at him, I said, who's your like my dream company to work for? And he said Amazon. And I was like, okay, when you go present yourself as a quality control person, you need to present yourself as if you're working for Amazon. You need to present yourself that you've done this for Amazon. And he looked at me and was like, you know, in literally, he goes, this is probably the most impactful conversation I've had in 3 days because you weren't selling me anything. Like I came to ask about kind of your business, but you talked to me as a human being, and you made me realize that my image that I'm stuttering, I'll never be good enough for more. And then I coached him. So like I introduced him to somebody and he was like, hi. And I'm like, wait, stop, reset. Who's your ideal company that you are doing this? Own the fact and restart. And the way he lit up in the conversation was just so incredible to watch, kind of thing. And there's a level for me where I think a lot of what I do is also often altruistic, where I'm like, look, I'm here to serve because 80 to 90% of people hate their job. 90% of Americans are not necessarily ready to be entrepreneurs. And so there's a level because it's scary that you're not going to have a paycheck and, how are you paying and so forth. And again, I've had life lessons from partners that cost me, quite a bit kind of thing. But there's also a level where I said, like, when you own what your purpose is, everything else will align. And if you have that conversation, so for me, I might have not been affected in suicide the way that you were, but I've seen great, amazing, beautiful minds go to waste because they've settled for so much less than they're worth, kind of thing. And I kind of went, why are we doing this as a system? Why are we? And I I talk to people that are IT people that are trying to build a new cog for a system that's broken. And so when I ask them questions, they're like, "What do you mean?" I'm like, "You don't get it. If you're building an HR system and you've never done recruiting and you've never experienced someone calling you and going, 'Oh my God, I just got a job. I got, a great offer.' How are you designing a system to help people get a job?" Kind of thing, right? And you know, there's a level where I will say I also try to surround myself with people where, you know what, there's value. And even if the value is not monetary, and I could say to you, Michael, one of the reasons I invite you to the show, we're friends on Facebook. I watch your lives, or at least I kind of scroll through them so that, I might not be kind of commenting on them, but I listen very, very carefully. And one of the things that drew me to you was the fact that many of your lives are the opposite of the rah rah. They're like, look, I just had this conversation, and I said something I shouldn't said, and you know what? Like, I'm taking this opportunity to kind of acknowledge it and kind of own it. Or, I'm tired of watching guys that say, look, uh, I'll market you, and in 3 months you're going to make six figures, kind of thing. Um, and I love the fact that you're challenging the norm, right? So for those that are marketers, for those that are maybe where I can help them kind of get a better job if they want to become entrepreneurs so that they can pay for their entrepreneurship. For those that kind of what we have about 5 minutes, any kind of message you want to give them in terms of like final thoughts, in terms of, you know, own your purpose, own who you are, and how to show up to do that. Because obviously you're the beard guy, and as you said yourself, when people see you, they don't really believe that you own several businesses that
Right.
kind of had the kind of success that you have, because
Right.
you're not the typical look for it, for example. So what would you say in regard, and if somebody had kind of like you a rough upbringing and kind of next step to move forward?
Right. First thing is own everything. Right. Own everything, the good, the bad, the indifferent, the ugly. Own it all. Take it. Know that whatever you've been through doesn't mean you have to go through. Right. That's why it's called what you've been through. You can do anything as long as you're willing to put in enough work and time to get it. One of the big things for people in this space, I would say, is don't be afraid to put in the work. We get caught up in the images, the Instagram lifestyle, the take pictures on the beach in front of a rented car with a mansion that's not yours, right? Like, don't fall into that. Just get really good at what you do. If you're really good at what you do, no one cares what you have. They care that you can help them with what they want so they can get what they want. Because at the end of the day, unless you're giving them what you have, no one cares what you have. So be willing to put in the work and the time, build the craft, hammer the sword, get in the arena enough, take the butt whoopings, and keep building and growing and looking for those opportunities to showcase who you are and what you're about. And then when you have those opportunities, every time step on it. And however it goes, and keep moving forward.
So I want to tie one last thing. And first of all, like, what are your thoughts on mentorship? And if you had, let's say, someone that is like, you know what, I want to do this, and you genuinely believe their heart, would you give them an opportunity to speak on your stage at UNLEASHU?
Yeah, 100%. We already have. I'm big on mentorship. Mentorship has saved my life. People speaking life into me has saved my life. Personal growth space has saved my life. So I'm big on mentorship. I think it's extremely important to find people that will speak into you, pour into you, guide you, and give you some pieces of the path that you don't know is there. I think that's huge. So yes, mentorship, and 100%. There's people on our stage. First time speaking, there are people on our stage that get paid $100,000 to speak, that speak with Tony Robbins every time he has an event. I am not interested in your resume when you speak on stage. I'm interested in your heart and what you're about and how you help people and serve people. That's what I'm totally about.
I love that. Okay. And again, this is where I'm going to say to our viewers, people that have hearts will always mentor you because it's a way to leave a legacy of I made a difference, I made an impact. So even today in the conversation, to me, that was a great conversation because the person left there with confidence that they can and they do rather than settle kind of thing, right? Okay, tell us again a little bit about your business. We got about 3 minutes. I want to kind of give you another chance to kind of let people connect with you. Obviously, we've been putting your contact information um, kind of
Appreciate that.
throughout, but whether you want to speak about the marketing business or just kind of getting a hold of you or how you are willing to even have a conversation with somebody that doesn't know where to start and kind of what to do, and then what's the best way to get a hold of you.
Hey, yeah. So number one thing, again, thank you for having me. I'm honored to be here. Really respect what you're about, who you are, and what you do. And you've always been real with me, so I respect that. Get a hold of me. Facebook probably is the best way. My personal Facebook account. Listen, my phone number is public on there. That's my literal cell phone number. It comes right to me. It's not some Google number or anything else or SMS service. It comes right to me. You can call me. My email address is on that. You can email me. You can message me on there. Typically, I'm the one doing my messages. So when I say I'm available, I'm available. You're not alone. You don't have to battle this alone. Just reach out. We help empowering entrepreneurs increase influence, impact, and income through messaging. If your messaging is right, you can do anything you want with it and it will work. If your messaging is wrong, you can do anything you want and it won't work. Your pick. All right. So everything comes down to messaging. So we work on crafting those messages that sell and impact.
Thank you again, Michael. I mean, it's been an honor and a pleasure to have you because I love how down to earth you are. I love how genuine. I love the fact that you understand that and have the mindset that when you're of service and you're truly of service, and it's not okay. I'm not lip service of service kind of thing.
Mhm.
Um, that the money itself will come, and bigger things will come. And this is where I think we need to get back to that. We need to get to the foundations of humanity rather than it's a competition and it's like let's just flood and let's just flood and let's post content for the sake of posting content. And I agree with you. The rented I have a Lamborghini tonight. This is it's just I kind of go enough. We need to change the conversation. We need to change that. And for me, my genius is kind of helping people understand that the resumes that you've been taught to do worked for the industrial revolution. We are
Right.
no longer in the industrial revolution, we're in the
Facts.
technological revolution, and we need to change the conversation. So thank
100%.
you again for coming on the show. This is kind of live, but tomorrow I'll send you the links with kind of all of the there, which is also SEO and everything for you.
Perfect.
For all listeners, I hope you got a lot of value and you understood that there's always somebody that's willing to help you and listen to you. That's always value. There's tons of people that want to mentor you and help you grow and help you figure out what is your purpose and what is your call. And when you own who you are, amazing things will happen and come your way. My name is Joseph Stetter. I am the Resume Whisperer, and I hope you've enjoyed the show. Have yourself a great evening, a great morning, and a great afternoon, depending on where you're listening from. Thank you.